Okay, so is my screen visible? Let me just try to go in.
Yes, please.
Okay. Um, just trying to. All right. So today I'll be talking about how competition between news channels has changed in Pakistan and how that has changed the way media operates, particularly how the way news channels operate and how their behaviors have changed over time with the entry of new entrants into the market. Okay, so there's quite a bit of work which shows that news media can have, profound effects on people's actions, beliefs, attitudes. I mean, there's some work looking at how election decisions change. There's some work looking at how, social norms can be influenced by things being portrayed on media through television, etc. So there's quite a bit of work over there. And as we are seeing the world change, we are seeing that there's a lot more availability of news from various outlets now, whether that's internet, whether that's newspapers, whether that's televisions. But interestingly, for developing countries such as Pakistan, television becomes a really important medium because newspaper, comes with issues of literacy. Similarly, if you think about digital media, that brings its own set of issues when you think of, being able to operate internet, being able to sign up to social media, being able to properly navigate it, etc. So as a result, television has actually become like a big source of news for people. So if you think of what potential effects competition could have on the news media industry, particularly on television, there are two possible things that could be happening. So firstly, news outlets are potentially competing for ratings because in Pakistan, the way the model of television networks, the way the model works is that they are dependent on ratings because ratings not just determine their private advertising content, but it also, so in some ways, determines the public advertisement revenue share, etc., that they get. And ratings could potentially create two important things. One is that ratings can create demand for high quality content. Right? People could be looking for more timely news. People could be looking for more unbiased news. People could be looking for more sort of diverse set of news coming. But then at the same time, ratings could also potentially mean that people just want to hear what they want to hear. So if I belong to a certain school of thought, or if I have certain views, I just want to hear exactly what I want to hear. And hence my preference would be to look for content which is more extreme. And so you can imagine that news channels try to kind of balance these two things, that on one hand, they have to provide some quality, but on the other hand, they also have to sort of channel this wish of people to be able to hear what they really want to hear. Okay. If we look at the literature, the empirical evidence on how channels react to each other is somewhat limited. There is some work in looking at electoral voter turnout in France, but that's looking at entry of local newspapers and how spatial variation in entry of local newspapers actually impacts the decisions of other local newspapers as well as voter turnout. Similarly, there's other work which shows how competition between television and newspapers could potentially impact the content being produced by television or newspapers. And so that's, looking across sort of the various mediums. But so what's sort of missing here is one, evidence on how, sort of these big national news channels react to each other. And, what kind of implications could that potentially have for the type of content that create? And that's the sort of target that we have for this particular research. So I've already explained why news quality is important, so I'm going to kind of move on. If you just look at what's been happening in Pakistan, I mean, it's a fascinating space in some ways. We don't realize the number of national Urdu news channels that we actually have. And, we are not actually looking at local news channels here. And if you see, their entry has been pretty steady between 2002 to until about 2018, after which, things have kind of stopped a bit. But between that period, like there's this steady entry of, 2 to 3 news channels per year, pretty much, if you just look at the patterns of entry. So this in some ways provides an exciting way to sort of test what happens if more news channels enter into the market. So there are two goals that we have for this research. One is to look at how can you design an instrument, or how can you create an instrument which could potentially be able to consistently create measures of quality. And you could potentially use the same instrument to basically look at, say, different talk shows or whatever, and make that instrument to be somewhat consistent. So one's that goal, which is of measurement, and I'll spend a bit of time talking about that, hopefully not too much. And the second is, what's the effect using this data that we collect? What's then the effect of new channel entry on various dimensions of news quality for the incumbent channels? So just to give you a quick overview of results, especially if I'm going over time towards the end, what we do find is that the impacts are extremely heterogeneous. So one, incumbents who are originally belonging to high rating groups, which is incumbent channels that already have high ratings, when they see that a new channels coming into the market, they actually tend to improve their quality based on indicators such as, how much time is shared between, anchors and hosts. Similarly, how much time in talk shows is devoted to actual public service provision issues. And finally, the inaccuracy of reporting, which I feel is actually a very strong measure in some ways. And when we look at the channels who had sort of lower ratings to begin with, for them, this actually gets much worse when a new entrant comes into the market. And the second interesting result that we find is that when we look at political inclination, we find that high rating incumbents tend to become more pro-government after entry, while low rating incumbents, they become more anti-government after entry. Okay, so this is just like a quick overview of what we are finding in our results. Okay, so in terms of measurement, we've designed this tool which is adapted from the types of tools that are often used for assessing classroom teaching. So, Stallings, they have this popular snapshot approach, which measures, how to assess teaching in classrooms in developing country settings. So we basically adapted on a very similar, on a very similar framework. There are two parts to the tool. The first part, and so again, I was going to come to sample after, but maybe this is a better time. We are basically looking at primetime talk shows in Urdu news channels, which are being aired at the same time. And so these are part of, we pick one of the primetime slots, and then we basically sample channels from high rating group and low rating group across this. And so the first part of our measurement tool is to look at who all are part of the talk show. Right, so one part that anchors or channels could potentially control is who they actually invite to the show. Right, so the first is the group composition. Who do you invite? What's their political affiliation? What's their gender? So on. So that's the first part of our tool, which is much easier to do. The second part, which is adopted based on Stallings, is that we train our coders to watch the talk show, and thankfully it's all freely available on YouTube and so on. I mean, there's no sort of confidential data here. It's all kind of available in the public domain. So we had our coders who were our RAs to basically sit and watch these videos. And in this second snapshot approach, they had to watch the video every 2 minutes for 20 seconds only. So this means that in a talk show, which lasts about 40 minutes, you would on average have around 20 different intervals, each of 20 seconds long. Okay. And the idea for restricting to 20 seconds is that, it helps to get better consistency across coders the shorter the time you have. And that's where we kind of refer back to the Stallings CO tool, the classroom observation tool. So what coders measure in each of these 20-second intervals is who is talking, what's the tone of their language that they are talking in, and we kind of code that language based on some literature from linguistics, which says, which has certain terms identified going from extremely negative to extremely positive. And then we basically have, so we have who is talking, what's their tone, what's their political inclination here, and if what's the content of these particular, what's the topic being discussed here, and finally, if any statistics are being cited and if we are able to fact check them. Okay, so that's basically the part of the stalling CO2 approach. Okay. So based on that, we are collecting data on 5 dimensions of news quality. As I mentioned, gender distribution, time sharing between anchors who are the hosts of the show and guests, the tone analysis, the content analysis, and then also the political incline of the anchors as well as guests. So our sample consists of, I think I already kind of went over this, but let me just quickly, also repeat that. We're looking at Urdu news talk shows, which are hosted in a prime time slot. We are sampling videos from 10 different channels, which are sort of randomly picked. We have around 6 from the top and 4 from the lower rating group. And so we are stratifying based on their rating at the baseline. And then, well, at whatever time we basically have available, because rating data, historically, we don't really have that. So at the time of sampling, we basically looked at the rating data and stratified. And in total, we observed around 17, 16 videos. This included all, which includes placebo test and all. So you'll see that for the actual discontinuity, we use a smaller number of videos just within the 1 month interval before and after entry. And, the sample period is 2017-18, particularly because that's when the date of entry points is. So I can't actually see how I'm doing on time. If am I like really just towards the end?
You normally have 3 minutes, but you could go up to 5, maybe. Okay,
I'll just quickly sort of jump. So I'll leave the measures out here, because when I discuss the results, I'll tell you about the measures as I go along. Okay. So in terms of the approach, we are using regression discontinuity in time. This is a more useful method to apply when you don't have a lot of cross-sectional variation, but you do know a very specific point in time at which the change was made. So you can look just before and after the change, and you do have sort of limited cross-sectional variation, but you have more like high frequency data available. So we use the date of channel entry, or the date of the new channel going on air as potentially as the date for discontinuity. We are looking at 3 new entries in our analysis. We are using like 30 days before, after. Okay, I think that's, and all our analysis is split by high, low rated, standard errors at weak channel level. But let me just quickly come to the results, because so this is the first result where I'm looking at, where we're looking at impact on party concentration in panel. So we construct, a Herfindahl style index, which basically the higher the index, the more concentration of specific parties. So you can see that as a new channel enters, the party concentration jumps up at just around the threshold. Similarly, if you look at the actual regression results, particularly split by high, low rated, you see that on one hand, the party concentration is increasing with an entry. And what you also see is that it's not just that the party concentration is increasing, but you can kind of attribute this to a move towards allocating sort of more allocating more seats to opposition political party members compared to the sitting government. So this is like sort of the second measure, but we don't really see any heterogeneity here between high and low rated channels. The second measure that we see here is basically looking at time sharing. So here in that 20-second interval, we actually code how many seconds were allocated to anchor, how many to person 1, 2, or whatever, right? And so we basically know what's the split between anchor, like the host and guest, in each 20-second interval. So when we total that up and we try to see, what percentage of time is being allocated to guests versus hosts, we see that with the entry of a new channel, there's a positive, for high-rated channels, there's a positive impact on, percentage of time given to guests. plus the percentage of time given to guests from opposition political parties, while for the low-rated channels, there's sort of a significant negative effect. The third variable you're looking at here is like an average of the tone. And here what you see is that in high-rated channels, there's a significant decline in tone, so the tone becomes a bit more negative, while in low-rated channels, the tone becomes a bit more positive after the entry. Here's another result, which is looking at content coverage. So we basically looked at, I mean, some of the content's a bit more hard to basically categorize as belonging to politics versus corruption versus, some of it is harder to categorize, but the things which are really easy to categorize is like how much of it is actually talking about, say, issues related to public service delivery. So if you look at that on average, you can see it's pretty low. But with the entry of a new channel, which is around 8% versus 10%, but with the entry of a new channel, there's a positive effect on high-rated channels, and there's a negative effect, which is a decline in discussion on issues related to public service delivery in low-rated channels. And finally, I mean, this I think is just the second last, and then I'll just end with the last result. I mean, this is looking at misreporting. So there are two things which we are looking at in misreporting. One is actual verifiable misreporting, which is, if an anchor explicitly cites a statistic which is false, which is we can verify that this was actually incorrect, which is we can fact check it. That's misreporting. On average, you see it is high, but it's not as high. So, 14, 15%. But once a new channel enters, you see that the top-rated channels actually significantly reduce their misreporting here, but the low-rated channels actually increase it considerably. Similarly, if you look at another variable, which is there are some cases where they report a statistic and there's no possible source for it. So they don't cite it and we don't find it either. And so those are the cases where, you have no source available. And again, you see that for top-rated channels or high-rated channels, that decreases with new entry, while for low-rated, it increases with new entry. And finally, if we look at political incline, what we do find is that top-rated channels, they become a bit more pro-government in terms of incline of the anchor, while the low-rated channels, they become a bit more anti-government. And you can see that just in the anchor incline, but the guest incline does not really shift with the entry of a new channel. The range of robustness I could talk about if anyone has questions, looking at range of polynomials, placebo tests with entry of like entertainment as opposed to news channels, and other fake entry points, etc. But I'll just stop there. Thanks a lot, and sorry for going over time. Yeah.